The squirrels are back at it. Don't know if you can hear them outside, but he's apparently upset with something. Oh, shut up! Hi everybody, welcome back to Pavonine Studios Beauty and Art. My name is Amy, and today I am going to do a video using the She's in Parties palette from Melt Cosmetics. I got this on kind of on the recommendation of Angie, and I don't know how to say her last name. She's in Sweden. But she really liked this palette and said it was as good as the original Stacks formula. And I've bought at least one melt palette before and was pretty disappointed, so I was kind of interested to try this and see what I thought of it. And I'm also going to break this into 2 videos. So I'm going to be doing my eyes, and then I'm going to be doing a Mix It Monday. So if you want to see what I mix together for my foundation, you'll have to come back, or you'll have to watch that video. So I'll link it above if it's available, and if it's not available yet, it soon will be. And so yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I've got you zoomed in a little tiny bit so that hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I've already got my eyes primed because you guys have seen me prime my eyes like 100 million times, and you don't need to see that. I think I'm just going to take sort of a fluffy brush, and this one's pretty good sized, and I'm going to take the color Total Immortal, which is kind of a nice lavendery shade. And I was wishing this morning when I got dressed that I had a purple shirt. Purple is not usually the thing that I go for as far as things to wear, so that's pretty. So that blended out really, really nice. Okay, I'm going to take a smaller brush and I'm going to go into Last Caress, which is also a matte. If I didn't mention that, that was a matte before. And this one's just a little bit deeper in tone, and I'm going to just focus that a little more in the crease. So that's nice too. So far so good. Yeah, that's pretty. Are my lights too bright? Let's turn them down a notch. Or maybe 2. We'll see what we think about that. I'm always messing with my lights, and I don't feel like I ever quite get it right. Now I want to go into the shade called Mean Streak, which is the darkest color in this palette. And please, Lord, let it be actually dark. So I'm just taking that same brush I just used, and we're just going to focus that in the outer corner. Oh yeah. So I'm just lifting up my brow a little bit here, just so that I can get the color in that crease where I tend to get, if I'm going to get creasing, I get creasing in my crease. And it doesn't really seem to matter too much what primer I use and stuff, it just kind of happens. That's nice and dark. I like that. Okay, before I start blending, I think I'm going to do kind of a halo eye today, or spotlight eye, something like that. So I'm going to do, this is a little smaller brush, and I'm going to focus that right on the inner corner here. So there's a little bit of kick up in the palette here, but that's kind of to be expected with colors like this, pigments like this. I'm going to clean off that brush a little bit and just use that brush to kind of start to pull this color out a little bit, blend it out a little bit. I can always go back in and re-intensify the corner, but I don't want to put tons of pigment on the very edges here. So I'm having a lot better luck today than I was yesterday when I was filming my Pat McGrath eye palette review thing, and I'll go ahead and link that above. I mean, we know how these things can go. You can be doing just fine and then all of a sudden everything turns to shit. Okay, I'm gonna go back in. I think I'm gonna grab a little bit more of a pointed brush, pick up more of that dark purple Mean Streak, and I'm just gonna pat it right there. I just realized my mirror is super filthy. Let me clean that off. Okay, that's better. Before I start bringing those two dark corners together, I'm going to go ahead and, oh boy, see, this is always the challenge when you've got a new palette, is like, what color to use? Those are pretty. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the color Sleepwalk, which is this middle one here, and then I'm going to go back in over it with Strangelove, because that's a touch more glittery and it's definitely lighter, of course, and yeah, that should be pretty. All of these colors are really, really nice. I mean, as far as I can tell, just swatching them and so on. I do wish that there was one color in here, one more color in here, that was the color of, maybe if she's in Parties, that was a matte, or something that would, something along those lines. But there's not, so you know, we do what we do what we have to, right? Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna take a flat shader brush and I'm going to pick up Sleepwalk. So that's really nice. There's not a lot of difference between the darker and the darker outside corners and this one, but I kind of figured that would be the case. That's why I'm going to go over it with that lighter color. So I've got a little fallout on my cheek area, not too bad. I am going to, before I add any more color, I'm just going to go ahead and take that first brush that I was using, and I'm basically just going to try to blend out this crease a little bit and connect the two dark corners. Okay, I feel like my eyes aren't quite even. I mean, nobody's eyes are even. Nobody's eyes are symmetrical. So I'm just going to go back in with some of that dark on that little brush. I'm not adding tons of color in the connecting space here, just barely sort of grazing over that, and then really focusing on those corners. I'm going to take a tiny bit of that Last Caress color, which is the second matte that I used, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that right here on the outer edge. I think that's pretty good. I'm liking that, guys. So I think I'm not a big lover of using my finger, but I'm gonna go ahead and use my fingers. And I'm just gonna kind of tap that right in the center. Adds just a little bit of extra shimmer and a little bit of lightness. And I'm just gonna kind of tap over. Yeah, I like it. I like it, guys. So far I've not had any trouble with anything in this palette. So I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup and I will come back. I'm gonna do lashes and liner and all that stuff that I always do. And I will come back and I will give you some final thoughts on the She's in Parties palette from Melt Cosmetics. I'll be right back, guys. Hi guys, I'm back and I've got the rest of my makeup on for today's look, and I've got to get out of here because I'm meeting somebody at 11 and I have like 20 minutes. So quickly, I am enjoying the She's in Parties palette, and so far I don't have any complaints at all with this palette. It blended nicely, the colors are nice and pigmented, the satins have a nice satiny look. The one sparkly one in here is really pretty. I did go back in with a small shader brush and I did wet my shadow. I gave it a little spray of Fix Plus and I just went over it just a tiny bit just to see if that would intensify it, and it did. But I think that overall, unless something dramatic happens, yeah, I'm pleased as punch with this. I believe this palette is about $48. I'll list everything that I have on my face today down below in the description box. So I think that I'm gonna leave it there because this was an easy success for me. Hi guys, I'm just doing a quick little check-in because I wanted to let you know a couple of things about the products that I tried today. The eyeshadow it still, in my opinion, looks pretty, but it has creased some, and I am relatively sure that you will be able to see that. And that's disappointing to me because I didn't think that this was going to do that. Now I will try this with a different primer, and it may be that the primer that I've been using so much lately, which is the Revolution Pro Eye Elements, is not as good as I thought it was originally. And so I'm going to try this palette again with those other primers just to see if it's my primer or if it's the eyeshadow, because at this point I don't really know, because this is twice now that I have had an eyeshadow look on and it has creased, and I can't think that I've ever had that problem before. So that's kind of worrisome. Not worrisome, I mean, you know, first world problems, but I'm not liking that. And so I'm gonna try some other primers, and I will add that to my list of things that I will update at some point in the future. I don't want this to drag on too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the regular video, but I did want to pop in and give you those two updates on the foundation mix and the eyeshadow, the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties eyeshadow palette. Thank you guys so much for watching me today. I appreciate your time here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.